to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Treasurer's report. You've received a copy of your treasurer's report. What are your wishes? We have to accept them or discuss them.
I make the motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll second.
It's been moved, supported that the treasurer's report be accepted. It's on file. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed?
Made money this month.
You've received copies of your Manistee Township Planning Commission accepted minutes from the January 7th meeting, as well as the January 7th public hearing for the rec plan. Any comments? Any questions for Guy on that? The rec plan was forwarded onto the county, correct? Corrected?
Yes.
Okay. And the county all is now forwarding it on to the state, and it needs to be there by March 1st, I believe.
I wanted to point out to you, Dennis,
Okay.
goal 4, remember we were talking today to people at Fowler Township. Recreational facilities were included in the plan. Tamara was going to check that today when we talked to her.
Goal 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Improve existing recreation facilities.
Yep. Okay. What that's reference to is I anticipate applying for some money to do some improvements to the recreational area up here, tennis courts, the playground and things. Yes, ma'am. Also, you received a copy of the minutes from January 14th Manistee Township Board. If you had a chance to look those over, what are your wishes?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Is there support?
I support.
It's been moved, supported that the minutes of the Manistee Township Board meeting held January 14th, 2016 be accepted, placed on file. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. None opposed? There was no appeals, correct?
Correct.
And the correspondence in your packet, you have a correspondence with the shop with the cop golf outing this summer. The veterans request, which will be covered later, and the Little River watershed information, which will also be covered later on in the agenda. Anyone with anything to bring before the board at this time? You're on the agenda, sir. Mr. Dotz.
Okay. Well, we just had our county board meeting on Tuesday, so you're getting everything fresh as opposed to a few weeks later. As you know, the armory is up for sale, and it's going to be offered to any of the branches of military service first, if anybody is interested in it. That does not appear to be the case, so it goes to local units of government to get the next chance for it. Council on Aging approached the county commission a couple of months ago in regard to that. They have a tremendous desire to acquire the armory. There needs to be another evaluation done on the armory for asbestos, whether it's in the tile floors or pipe insulation, what have you. If there's any brown field issues there with leaching from oil and gas and whatever from vehicles. So it's an ongoing issue. But the Council on Aging has a strong interest in it. They would like to definitely pursue it. We also have been approached by the 12th Street project, which is I'm going to refer to as a Christian-based youth organization. They have over $1 million in hand. They've already placed an offer for $350,000. But it's all fluid. What we have asked AES to do is to have a public meeting over this, so anybody of interest that wants any space in that building, you know, and if we as the county commission can facilitate it and try to make it best use. I don't want to personally be in a situation for winners and losers, but again, there's a difference for us as a governmental body working in regard to that as opposed to dealing with private nonprofits. There's a difference from a governmental standpoint what we can and can't do. So we'll see where that goes. It's very fluid, and I'm sure everybody's going to hear when the meeting is and where it is. We asked to have a meeting in the evening and have it at a venue that can handle a fair amount of people, and everybody can come. Our MERS, which is our pension fund for the county, due to different changes over the years, now they want us to have it funded at 120%, so it's going to take a fairly good hit on our budget. We don't know exactly where that's going to go as of yet, but they're definitely trying to help or trying to have us take more general fund dollars heading that way. So it definitely is going to have an impact on us. Russ Pomeroy gave us, county treasurer, a report as he usually does. There's been 251 parcels that have not had the taxes paid on it, that were up for sale. 66 of those are principal residences, and Russ tries to do what he can with anybody, if they have any ability to make a payment, that you're going to try to keep them in their houses. We will not have to do any borrowing from the delinquent taxes, which is good. And he also said that our audit should be complete in April. As you guys also mentioned earlier, Dennis said the county rec plan, we did adopt that at the county board a couple days ago, so that has been completed. The only one that has not signed off on that has been Eastlake, and that was due to what's going on with quorums, but they're on board, they are in the plan. We updated our strategic plan for the county. The airport has a strategic plan now, and they gave a presentation to the county board in regard to that. We have a tax allocation board with one vacancy. Now, I've been in communication with a gentleman today from, I believe, the township here in regard to filling that vacancy, but we're looking to try to get that on a ballot in a timely manner to where the township, the schools, and the county has their set millage like we generally do for a 5-year period. AES is looking to do some work contractually with Benzie County to the tune of about $40,000 to get their foot in the door, because there's more things than just, where the boundaries stop and go. I mean, some of the stuff that's going on today, it's looked at it more regionally than just within, as you know, the township boundary, the county boundary, what have you. So that's ongoing. I don't know how extensive it will get into the future. The other thing we had is, yesterday we had an ad hoc meeting with West Shore Medical Center management in regard to the merger, sale, acquisition, what have you, between West Shore and Munson. We're trying to secure a couple of things in the process of that. West Shore Hospital now has a target date of June for the Munson and West Shore boards to sign off and then come to the county board for our July meeting. It sounds pretty aggressive to me, but we'll see what happens. But we're trying to look out for the best interests of the county on many levels. I don't want to go into too much depth about it, but it's an ongoing thing. We do have another meeting set up for next month. And right now, it's probably the biggest thing we're working on. The other thing I'd like to relay to you, this coming week, the Manistee County Road Commission has a public hearing. I believe it's the 23rd. And it has to do with the 7th Street and 9th Street road end closures up in Onekama by Portage Point Inn. And that has a huge impact for the investor up there to go forward with his project, which is several millions of dollars. So that's ongoing. From a technical standpoint, they did not have to have a public hearing because Bob Gazan, who owns the inn, owns all the property around it. So, there's really nobody to notify about it, as he is the sole property owner. But they're going through the process because the board felt it was in the best interest of the public. If anybody has any concerns or questions, they could have the public hearing and answer questions in regard to that. So that's what I've got.
Questions? Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Anything going on in your office, Guy?
Well, actually, things have slowed down. There was no appeal, I mentioned that. There were no land use permits applied for in January either. No complaints. I did have a question about target shooting in the township, and I answered that. As far as the Little River Band of Ottawa Indian Sewer, township, we need to pass an ordinance, a use ordinance. Connie and I are working with the attorney on getting that done, and then we can do the fee resolution after that. City Water, we have a meeting set up on the 24th of this month here at the Township Hall with the city. Rec plan we've already talked about. US 31 corridor study. We've talked to the county planner, and he's willing to lead the effort since he's already working on a county-wide corridor plan for US 31 to work with us to try and update the 2004 plan that was already done and get that rolling within the township sooner rather than later, using the 2004 plan instead of trying to recreate a whole new one.
And he'll be working with the planning commission?
He'll be working with the plan, he's going to be working with me to get it started and then come to the planning commission, yes. I'll give you an update on the Dom subdivision out on the lake. Really nothing's happened. He came to visit me. I reminded him he needed to resubmit the site plan to the MDEQ and get their approval of the location and the design of the access to Lake Michigan. So that's what he's doing with that, before he can bring the site plan back to the planning commission. No news on the county drain. And the Bar Lake Improvement Board, we delayed the meeting from March till April 4th. I won't be there, but we'll get somebody to take minutes in my place. So that's it.
Any questions?
Did you say a subdivision?
A subdivision.
Okay, the only thing I would caution in regard to that, because it's come up with the road commission, is if there's going to be road development for that subdivision and it's going to be turned over, they've had problems in the past with not completing the roads up to full specs before turning over. Just point of caution.
They're very aware they need to build the road, the private road, to county road commission specs. And they have to demonstrate that to our planning commission that it's, now whether it's constructed that way or not, who's going to inspect it. We'll figure that out when we get that far.
Anything else? Thanks, Guy. Tom, in Chuck's absence, you got a report on the fire station?
Yeah, it's not a very big one, but that's fine. We'll give it to you. We had 2 fire-related runs last month, 24 medical runs. We had 3 activities. Total activities were 29. We had 377 personal hours. Chief and officers had 62 hours for a total of 439 hours altogether. We've been working on some of the apparatus by changing doors or light bulbs and things like that. We put in a new light or a new plugs above a couple of the trucks so we could have them on separate circuits. And we stuck a red LED light up there so that we could see it if it was off, but we could tell it real easy. Under equipment, we applied for a grant for PPEs since ours are going out of compliance. And also a FEMA grant for SCBA's, approximately $1,005, which is a 5% match. So we're waiting on that. We ordered some belts for the ladder truck, and of course they were put on back order right away, so we're waiting on those. We're still looking for new people to join. We got 2 firefighters right now that are will and are attending classes. Daniel Atkinson and a Matt Cross, firefighters 1 and 2, and then a firefighter 2. They just completed a 50-hour training course on wildfire class, and we had one of our guys in that department that went through that, was Brandon Shannon. We're still working on the flashing yellow light over on the highway with the MDOT. I guess it's been approved, and just got to figure out when they're going to be able to put it in and that. And I guess the cost to us is probably going to be about $200. We put in for a PAR grant last fall, and we got turned down on that. Not really sure why, but I guess I think you said something about you talked to the guy. Well, I did too, and I did what he told me to do, and we still didn't get it. ISO, we got that back the other day, and we received a 5Y classification, which it's gone up quite a bit. We're we were a 3.5 points away from a 4, and a 4 is, I guess, the best you can get. And we were rated at the top 1,900 fire departments in the state, or 19,000 fire departments in the state. And let's see, what else is good out here? We did I'd like to thank Chuck and the guys that worked on that. They did there was a lot of work on it. We're going to try to get some more testing, or for better hydrants and hose testing and stuff like that, to get that rating up where it's supposed to be. And I guess Chuck's been working on a budget for the 2017 fiscal year, and we're kind of looking at what we need for that. That's about all I got.
Any questions? Thanks, Tom. And again, thanks convey to the firemen how much we appreciate what they do. Liquor inspector, there's no significant changes. Oaks prison report, you did have one after you didn't have one?
There is not, I haven't been notified of one.
I thought they had one in January. I thought it was due in January. Bless you. Bless you. Nothing.
Nothing's come my way, I know that.
The Cromer McGinnis drain, I can give you a little update on that. I spoke with the drain commissioner day before yesterday. He said on the 24th of February that the advertisement for the bids are going to go in the paper. It's under 2 separate bids, one for the liner and one for the outlet. The outlet being behind the hospital. He has to secure easements from the hospital, or from the county, to get on to do that work behind the hospital. And, excuse me, he said he's having the bid packets printed. He said they went to the printer yesterday. And he assured me that we will get one. We'll see. Revenue sharing board deadline is March 4th at 5 o'clock. That's for cycle 1, 2016. Under unfinished business, the Onekama Township request, Mr. Meister will attend our March meeting to give us further information on that request for the JAWS unit that's currently housed in the Onekama Fire Department. Anything else under unfinished business? Under new business, Mr. Sarus is here from the Little Manistee Watershed Conservation Council. Mr. Shrews, please.
Okay, thank you. I'll try to be brief. I left a copy of the presentation on each of your desks, and if anyone would like one, you're certainly welcome to pull from the book here if you like. Jeff, I think you've seen this. Okay. Yeah, my name is Armis Shrews. I'm with the Little Manistee Watershed Conservation Council and a steering committee that's forming. What we're trying to do is develop a watershed management plan for the Little Manistee River. And it doesn't flow through your township directly, but a little corner of it does fit into the watershed. And what we're trying to do is be thorough. So we thought we'd at least make you aware of what's happening. See if you wanted to have some input to the plan itself as we go forward. So I wanted to just tell you a little bit about the LMWCC. We're trying to give the plan some credibility. Talk about how we're going to generate the plan. What we're trying to do is get support from the townships, counties, and others in the area to kind of give the plan some credibility. In the Little Manistee Watershed Conservation Council, we've been around since about '96. And the main goal is to preserve, protect, and enjoy the Little Manistee River. We want the community to look ahead a little bit, have a plan for how they'd like to develop it. We're not trying to drive what's in the plan, we're just trying to get the community to have a plan. Certainly we have some things we'd like to see, but you know, that's part of it. We're a 501c3 organization. We have about 250 member families that primarily live along the river or live, near the river. Mostly landowners. What we try to do is maintain the river environment. We try to bring together stakeholders, identify and resolve problems along the river. We try to be a kind of a conduit for information, education. We work a lot with the Conservation Resource Alliance up in Traverse City, DEQ, Forest Service, DNR. Try to work with the townships, everybody that we can. We try to monitor the watershed health. We do annual and periodic surveys of water quality, woody debris, bank erosion. That's been a big thing for us. A lot of the problems with the river are sand that's coming in from where, the logging era, they did a lot of damage to the vegetation and then along the river. So the sand tends to go into the river, cover up the gravel beds for the fish. We've got a SWAT team that clears the paths, lets people kayak and canoe the river. We try to clear it wide enough to kayak and canoe, but not take all the debris out of the river, so it stays interesting to kayak and it's good for the fish, I guess. Historically, we focused a lot on the bank erosion and fish cover. We have several projects going this year that we did some fish cover and in-bank erosion fixes. The reason we want to do it is we think the river is important to the economy and the watershed. And a lot of people here live here because of the environment that it's part of. In the current funding environment, if you want to do projects for a river like this, is such that if you don't have a watershed management plan, you're competing with some of the other rivers in the area and in the state that do have these plans. And the federal and state and a lot of the big private foundations and that, if you don't have the plan, it's really hard to get money. And we don't have the money locally to do some of the things that we need to do. So we're trying to reach out to some of these other funding sources and bring in money for the river. As a watershed management plan, we have our Michigan DEQ and federal EPA criteria that you work to. Basically look at a comprehensive review of the river, figure out water quality concern, designated and desired uses, pollutants, the surveys of erosion, fish crossing, or road crossings, fish count, things like that. and develop a consensus in the community on the long-term goals and objectives and how people would like to see the river as time goes on. We know things are going to change. We're just asking people to look ahead and understand and think about how things are changing and where they'd like to see it go. We're trying to get all the interested stakeholders in the watershed involved, make them aware of what's happening. That's why I'm here tonight. I know it just touches on you guys, but I wanted you to be aware of what we're doing and take part if you would like to. The steering committee, as I said, drives the completion of the plan. We don't drive the content. That comes from the community. Townships, counties, conservation districts. I've talked with all of the townships and counties that the river directly flows through. Most of them have signed on. The two major exceptions have been Manistee County at this point and Stronach Township. They've decided not to take part. Everybody else has pretty much agreed that that's what they'd like to do, and we've got 3 or 4 others that are just on the periphery like you guys. Right now we're contacting stakeholders, forming a steering committee. We've held a few meetings just to kind of get things together. We've established a couple of project funds at the Manistee County Community Foundation, to one of them for people to donate to actually develop the plan itself, and there's a longer-term endowment fund that would let us basically implement the plan and hopefully be a perpetual source of funds to keep revising it, updating it, and be an ongoing process for the river. As I said, we've talked to most of the townships and counties within the watershed. We've got about 4 that just touch on it like you guys do. Lake County, Mason County commissioners have both joined us, but feel real strongly about it. Most of the townships have joined us. Just kind of reaching out to the remaining. We're partnering now with public sector consultants. They're the folks that did the Bear Creek, Bear Lake, and a number of the other watershed programs in the area. So we're in the final stages of basically establishing a contract with them, working real close with the Alliance for Economic Success, and Manistee County Community Foundation, the DNR, Indian Club, Trout Unlimited, Forest Service, just everybody that, you know, we're trying to reach all the stakeholders. And the reason I'm here tonight, 2 things: make you guys aware. We would be pleased if you could look at the partnership agreement that's there, and basically the second paragraph is the gist of the whole thing. This second paragraph there on the first page it's a philosophical agreement that there should be a watershed management plan for the Little Manistee River, and then you would participate as best you can. The rest kind of describes how it's done, makes it look like a legal contract, but it's more a philosophical thing that lets us tell folks that we're going to for funding, the townships and people within the community support us, and that's what I'm hoping to come away with tonight. If you'd like to look at it, I can come back another time, or you can mail it to me if you want to think about it. I know it looks like more than it is. Any questions?
Questions? We'll probably have questions when we get a chance to sit down and absorb all this.
Okay. Okay. I know I don't want to take up a lot of your time tonight, but I've left my card there. I'd appreciate it if you let me know. I'll come back if you have questions. If you want to sign a partnership agreement as individuals or as an organization, that's fine.
Okay.
Right.
Are we allowed to, are we allowed to reprint this, copy this agreement?
Yep.
For someone who wants to do it individually?
Absolutely. I'll leave some for that purpose. You've got 4 of them there.
Yeah, that's
They're
fine.
individuals. Yeah.
But you never know.
Okay.
Any other question?
But thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
2 is United Veterans Council flag request. This is a yearly request. In the past, we have contributed to the purchase of the flags for the placement of the flags in the cemetery. 2015, we donated $750.
We were making up for
We're
14.
making,
14, correct.
Previous time, we were gonna make up the other half this year. I mean, that was the
That's what we
discussion.
talked about.
Mhm. So is that a motion?
That's a motion,
750?
That's a motion to pay $750 for the flags this year?
yes.
I'll
It's the
second.
same as last year.
It's been moved and supported that we contribute $750 for the veterans for United Veterans Council of Manistee County for the flags for placement on the graves of our veterans. Any discussion? Again, just for the public's interest, we had, for some reason, we missed 2014, and we increased it from 500 to 750 to make up for that year that we missed. Any other discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Aye. None opposed? Carried. The bills for February have been provided. Had a chance to look them over. What are your wishes?
Make the motion, we pay the bills as presented.
I'll second
It's been moved, supported that we pay the bills for the period January 15th through February 18th.
Yes.
That's provided. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Thank you. Manistee Zoning Board of Appeals, if there is one, will meet March 1st, 2016 at 7 p.m. here at the hall. Planning Commission meeting is Thursday, March 3rd at 7 p.m. here at the hall. The Township Board will meet on March 10th at 7 p.m. here at the hall. The Board of Review and organizational meeting, at which time no appeals will be heard, will be Tuesday, March 8th at the hall, here in the boardroom, because March 8th is election day.
Yeah.
It's going to be a busy time here. On that note, I have been here when these ladies have, Judy and Karen and Diane and Dan also have been trying to get these absent ballots out, and they're just doing I've offered to help, but I kind of get in the way.
That
But
happens a lot with you.
they're just doing a fantastic job. No one has any idea how much work goes into those things, or at least I do, and they're doing a wonderful job. Township Board of Review, appeals will be heard March 14th from 2 to 5 p.m. and from 6 to 9 p.m. And on Tuesday, March 16th,
That does.
why?
The 14th and
The
the
14th and the 16th are consecutive days.
It's the 15th.
I don't know
It's
which,
the
it's the
15th.
15th?
Yeah, it's the 15th.
Never mind, sorry.
Tuesday, March 15th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon and from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Now, those are the times and dates when you can present your appeals. There is an MTA meeting in March. It's on the 23rd at Norman Township Hall at 7 p.m. And as someone suggested, the Bar Lake Improvement Board will meet in April, on April 4th, 2016. Any other comment? Motion's in order. Been moved and supported. Adjourned.